Hey everybody, Bladesofgod here from Hammer Bros Gaming, coming at you with the newest installment in our Gears Tactics, Immortal Legion Achievement Guide. If you're not familiar with Immortal Legion, the achievement tasks us with completing the entire game start to finish on the hardest difficulty, which is insane, without losing a single unit in combat. Now, unlike on lower difficulties, there is no down but not out status. So if your unit loses all of its health, it dies. There's no two ways about it. Thankfully, you can restart the chapter, you can restart the checkpoint, or restart the mission if you lose a unit. Doesn't affect the achievement as long as you complete the game, complete the last mission, and all of your units are still alive. This video is going to be focusing on Act 2, Chapter 6. It's a bit of a challenging mission. Right at the beginning, you're kind of surrounded, like 180 degrees view is enemies. So everywhere in front of you, you have enemies. There's a Cantus that's buffing your enemies to take less damage. They have the high ground. So you're at a lot of disadvantages, but it's okay. We're going to get through it step by step. Hopefully you find this video helpful. If you find this video helpful, please consider liking the video and giving our channel a subscribe, Hammer Bros Gaming. Join our ever-growing Hammer Nation. We'd love to have you on board. But that's about enough from me. Let's dive right into the video and get you guys the help that you came here for. So right off the bat, we're going to take a look here at our squad requirements. This mission actually requires us to take Gabe, Sid, and Michaela. So that means that 3 of our 4 roster slots are going to already be filled. We're going to take Maricela as our 5th. And there's no limitation on who you could take, but I'm taking Maricela because she's really starting to get, Marcella, I'm sorry. She's really starting to get kitted out for a lot of grenade damage, so we're going to want that. So let's look at Gabe's skills. We've got high powered shot, distracting fire, revved up, chainsaw rush, weak point, chainsaw attack mastery, empower level 1, and command. Looking at his lancer, we're still running the overwatch stock for the patrol skill to increase his overwatch damage. We got the expert mag for accuracy and ammo. Moving on to the scope, we've got the precision scope for 7% accuracy, the power barrel for 30 damage, and that rolls out or rounds out his Lancer. The snub's been upgraded to the level 2 snub. He's running a standard frag grenade. He's also running right now a trooper helmet, and consider just because I really don't care for the fact that it's only health based, I switch it out for the optics skill to increase his accuracy. He's got the hunter braces on for evasion and glory, just because glory gives him a chance to cool down his skills when he executes an enemy. He's running the commando vest. Looking at Michaela, we have ultimate shot, running gun, chain shot level 2, active reload, fast fingers level 1, and sharpshooter for skills. For long shot, we have the padded stock for 40% crit damage, sleek bolt for 7% crit chance, holographic scope for the focus skill, and the wrap barrel for an additional 30 damage. Looking at the snub, it's also been upgraded to the 2nd level. Frag grenade is the standard frag grenade. She's running a rare Onyx Retro Helm, which gives advanced optics for 20% critical hit damage. And her greaves, we've got the double down skill. Onyx Greaves double down is the skill, 5% damage, which stacks each time you take a shot up to 3 times per turn. And the upper armor is currently running the cadet plate for stabilizers, which gets 5% accuracy 2 shots while you are in cover. So very accurate, very high crit damage and crit chance, so we like that. And then we're going to, she should level up on this mission as well because she's very close to leveling up as it is. Then Sid, we have hemorrhage, expertise, rage shot level 1, recharging bayonet, free bayonet, enraged bayonet, executioner, intimidate level 1, and regeneration. The executioner skill is very helpful with that 50% damage, 30% damage when they're below 50% health, and then hemorrhage is also helpful if you get the critical hit on an enemy and you don't kill it, because it actually gives it the bleed status effect. So looking at his retro lancer, we have the sleek stock for 10% crit chance. That matches nice with that hemorrhage skill. We have the common precision mag for 7% accuracy, even though it costs us 1 ammo. The legendary digital scope for 150% crit damage, which is very nice. And then the power barrel for an additional 30 damage. His snub has been upgraded to the level 2 snub. He's running a standard frag grenade. His helmet, he's running an Onyx helm for the optics, which is 5% critical hit chance. Again, I'm thinking about that hemorrhage skill. Then we've got Veteran Armor. I've been running his standard Veteran Armor for his uppers and lowers since the beginning of the game. But at this point, it doesn't really make sense to continue doing that. I mean, I could run the Trooper Armor for more health, but honestly, there's no skills that are really going to complement him as well as what he has right now, so we're going to leave it just because there's nothing better available. So looking at Marcella, her Nasher, we've got the Impact Grip for 10 damage and Disrupt. We really like having Disrupt on there. Stable Handle, Area Sights for Patrol, and then Power Barrel. Her Snub has been upgraded as well to the level 2 Snub. She's running the higher damage Frag Grenade because she is grenade built right now. Her kit is kitted out for grenades. For the helmet, she's running the UIR Regulator for the Blast Zone skill, 15% radius on grenade effects, plus 10 health, which doesn't hurt. Then we have the UIR Regulator for the Grenadier skill, which is 20% to frag and stim grenade effects, plus 20 health, and then the UIR Holsters, which gives her the utility belt, and this reduces all frag grenade and stim grenade abilities by 1 turn, meaning you get your grenade skill back faster. Looking at her skills, we have Demolition Expert, Frag Grenade Mastery, Extended Cloak, Proximity Mine level 2, Free Cloak, Stalker, Sprint level 1, and Cloak. So, definitely kitted out to do as much grenade damage as possible. So let's get right into the mission here. The optional objective is complete the mission without a gear being downed, dying or being downed. So this is sort of a give me on the optional objective because since we're playing on Insane, there is no down but not out status, so if one of our units gets downed, they die, and since we're completing the game without a unit dying, we wouldn't complete the mission. So, ipso facto, we're going to get this optional objective. Alright, so this mission normally never gives me any trouble. This is one of the easier missions in my opinion. However, because I went into it with that mentality, apparently the game said, screw you, Blades, we're going to give you a hard time. I ended up having to restart several times using this strategy, but the strategy works, and like I said, I've played through the game multiple times and never had the strategy not really work. So let me tell you what we're going to do. We're going to start out, you can see on the right hand side here, we have some high ground, and we're definitely going to want to post up Michaela up there just because we want her to have that high ground advantage. Now, the biggest threat in this first part of the mission is that you have a Cantus who's toughened a lot of these enemies. And just like every other time we've played, or every other mission that we've played, I should say, we're going to be taking it slow. We want the enemies to come to us. We want the toughened status effect to wear off, which takes 2 turns. So this is turn number 1. Some of these enemies up here, you can see they don't really have, toughened because the grenade is going to take out those wretches. And the scary thing about toughened is that with a 70% damage reduction, even a frag grenade does not kill a wretch. So it's very easy to get, I don't want to say overwhelmed, but it takes a lot more to put these enemies down once the Cantus has toughened them up. So we're going to use Gabe, and we're going to take out those wretches on the right hand side. Then I ran sit up here, and all I'm trying to do is get the Overwatch off of Michaela up top. All of these enemies in the middle here on these middle stairs, they have toughened on, so we're not going to really focus too much on them right off the bat. Our first priority is going to be taking out the enemies that we can take out using conventional means, and that is the enemies up to the right there. So we're going to use Michaela to finish off this enemy. We want to make sure, like I said, you can see that there's a huge difference in damage. Of course, I miss with that shot, 67%, you know, that's 50-50 at best, really, when they're playing on Insane. So you can see that we've got a lot of enemies in the middle here who are toughened. Like I said, this frag grenade, this enemy is not toughened, but the ones in the middle are. You can see toughened is appearing on that right hand side. And that's something else that I would recommend, is that if you don't know the status effects that are on enemies, pull up your TACCOM by hitting R on your keyboard. And that's going to show you the both positive and negative status effects that you've got going for not only your units, but the enemy units that you're considering attacking. So here we go. You see that grenade barely did any damage to the wretches, but it did take the drone off the board who was kind of closest to us. And then I'm going to use a grenade from Marcella to take, like I said, to take him off the board, and then I set the proximity mine right between the Wretch and the Drone. The reason I did this is that no matter which one of them moves first, it's going to hurt them, but more importantly, it should interrupt them, so I don't have to worry about the enemies rushing up too far, because we've got good cover right now. So where we're sitting is very safe, and it's kind of like being in a trench, actually. So you've got some good cover, you're down lower, and the enemies really can't get an angle on you. So as they advance towards the 3 units in the middle, Michaela's going to go to work trying to pick them off. You can see I got 100% crit chance, 100% hit chances with 52% crit. Unfortunately, the damage is still being reduced because this is the last turn of Toughened from that Cantus yell. So we're going to go to work. We're going to use some of our skills. We're going to use our chain shot to gain additional action points. So that's going to help us take these enemies, not necessarily off the board, but at least damage them enough that our allies are going to be able to finish them up. So ultimate shot, this is a great skill. I've got one enemy weakened. I saved him specifically until I had 1 shot left. I knew it was a 100% chance of hitting, and that with 80 or whatever, it had 84 health, that the shot would be enough to kill it. So that gave me 3 more action points. So you can see that once you get some of these skills unlocked for the sniper, you can really start to pile on your action points. And then I think on the next level, the next time we level up, we can get the Quick Fingers level 2, which means if you kill an enemy, you'll reload and gain an additional action point. So, like I said, lots of ways to do a lot of damage per turn with that sniper. So we used up all the attack we had with Michaela. We're going to move up Marcella a little bit, and we're going to do just a little bit of damage, more pestering them than anything. A little bit of damage to that Wretch, and I know on the next turn these enemies are going to lose their Toughened status effect, but what I'm worried about right now is that these Wretches are going to be able to move far enough up to actually hit Sid and Gabe. So because they closed in a little further than I wanted to, you get a couple of options. You can see I have my cursor down at the bottom or the south side of the screen. That is an option, or you could do this and move them up onto the high ground with Michaela. Moving them to the high ground is the best option because taking a ladder does decrease the distance the enemies can travel. So there's no way that the Wretches are going to get up this high now. Plus, it puts your units in an additional high ground advantage, so their accuracy is going to be increased and their crit chances increased. Again, the reason that we didn't do this right from the beginning is that it would pull too much focus to the right side. We'd end up with a bunch of enemies swarming the high ground, and that's no good. So we can see our Cantus friend is finally starting to come up. I thought he was going to try to heal and re-toughen the Wretches that were on the lower part of the map, but it turned out there was still a rifle drone up top, and that's who he decided to buff, which is fine. That's great. The Cantus was far enough away not to revive the down but not out rifle drone, and now we have these 2 Wretches who are both, the toughened status has been lost on them, so I don't need to worry about them, being super resistant to my shot. That Wretch did get healed, which is unfortunate because the one that's at full health now was at like 20 health, I think, but not a big deal because without toughened, they're easy enough to take out. So you can see I'm just sort of picking which shots are going to be the best. I get 100% hit chance with Sid here, so we're definitely going to take that. That takes one of the Wretches off the board, plus you can see Bleed just activated, but, well, he's dead, so dead enemies don't have to bleed. We're going to move Gabe up a little bit further, not too far because we don't want to trigger that Overwatch, but just far enough that I can get a shot on this Wretch. Again, 100% hit chance, and we're going to use high-powered shot, which does additional damage, so we like that. So we just took 2 of these Wretches off the board, and I think that's the last of the Wretches, actually. So what we're going to do now is we're just playing it safe because I don't know where that rifle drone's going to go on the next turn, and I don't have enough action points to try to take him out. What I am going to do is I set Marcella up to get ready to take out this Cantus on our next turn. Unfortunately, my shot with Michaela missed on the Cantus, so the Cantus is the better percentage chance, so we're going to try again. And I do hit. It's a critical hit, not quite enough to take him off the board. And I have one shot with Marcella to end him. I could have done it on this turn, but I decided instead that I was going to wait so I have a fresh set of action points so I can move Marcella to safety after I take the Cantus off the board. Unfortunately, the Cantus does fall back just a little bit, but not really a big deal. Sid is sort of out here in no man's land, but he's safe. Not doing much, but he's safe. And on this turn, let's get rid of this Cantus, so no more toughening enemies. And that's going to leave us with just 2 rifle drones on the first half of this map. So there goes the Cantus, that increased grenade radius coming into effect there a little bit. This drone decided to overwatch Michaela with a 95% hit, 92% crit. This made sense. I decided to move to get that additional 50% run and gun, and boom, 1 shot and he's gone. It's a beautiful thing. And now I don't have any additional targets, so I'm just going to move Michaela up further towards the objective. And that at this point, since we only have the 1 drone left, this is what we're going to do. We're going to just start moving up towards that ring, the objective ring, to open up the gate that we need to open up. Again, like I've said on previous missions, don't waste too much time getting to your objective, because if you dawdle, then the game's going to throw a couple of boomers at you via Reaver drop, and you do not want that. Trying to deal 6,000 damage, since they have 3,000 health apiece in 1 turn, is almost impossible. And yeah, just trust me, you want to get to the objective within a couple of turns of clearing out all the enemies. The next thing we're going to do, we want to grab that case that's on the left there on the west side of the map. Doesn't matter who grabs it, and just keep on moving them up. You want to be a little bit careful. I know it's easy to get overconfident when there's only 1 rifle drone left, but that 1 rifle drone can get a clean shot on you and end your run. So you could see I'm still being very, very cautious as far as where I'm putting my units. I actually bring Michaela back a little bit to try to get a shot, but unfortunately it's only a 10% chance, so I decide, nope, not worth it, and move her back to where she was. It's almost a 0 gain on this turn for Michaela's movements because I wasted 1 falling back. We're going to move Gabe up, and what I've got going here is that we've got Sid on one side, we've got Gabe on the other, and why that's significant is that regardless of which way this drone decides to overwatch, I'm going to be able to use either the chainsaw or the retro charge to take him off the board, and on the next turn. My plan here, I was trying to get Marcella to use her disrupt shot, and then I was going to retro charge with Sid, but unfortunately the disrupt shot missed, so that put that plan on ice, and instead I was going to try intimidate, but that wouldn't give me enough AP to get out to where I could use the retro charge, so I decided to just end the turn. Thankfully, the drone decided to face the other way and overwatch towards the east where Gabe is, and that means that Sid's able to move up here, get into the objective ring, and do a retro charge all in 1 turn. So boom and boom, there we go. He's off the board, he is done. And we're inside of the ring, so now all we have to do is open the gate. We're going to have Marcella grab this case, and then we are going to all stack up as much as we can on this door. Like I said, you've got about 1, maybe 2 turns to open up this gate before the boomers drop in. So don't dawdle. If you don't have all your all your units right with you, it's okay. Open up the door anyway, just to prevent those boomers from coming in. The enemies on the other side of the gate are quite a ways away, so you don't need to worry about getting overrun or anything like that. And you'll have time to catch up any of the units that have kind of fallen back. So the next thing we're going to do, like I said, open this up, and we're going to stack up all of our units on this piece of cover directly ahead of us. It says it's a half cover because the part where you actually slide in is a half cover, but you've got a wall in front of you. So again, very, very safe. There is only, well, the big threat right here is that there is 3 or 4 snipers, so you want to use this full cover just until you see where they're going to go. You also get introduced to the new enemy type, the Disciple, coming up. Disciples aren't all that bad. They have increased health, and they will leave a poison cloud on their death, or a toxic cloud on their death, and, well, you'll see the cutscene right here. Basically, they're drones, they're hammer burst drones that have been pumped up by emulsion. Thanks, Ukon. We appreciate that. They can knock your allies out of cover, so can knock back your units, emits toxic cloud on death. What that toxic cloud does is that if they're near their allies, so if they're near other enemies, it sends them into the enraged status, and if they're near you, it is a huge debuff. You lose, I think you lose like 70% of your damage output, and you take more damage. So you really don't want to use the retro charge or the chainsaw for taking out the disciples if you can help it. Sometimes you got to do it, but just be aware that you're not going to be very effective for the next couple of turns if you do that. So alright, back into the actual gameplay here. You can see we've got 3 snipers who decided to all set up in the middle of this, what looks like an empty swimming pool. So instead of throwing a grenade, I see one grenade will hit all of them, but it's not going to be enough to kill them. So we're going to use the old throw a proximity mine and then throw a frag grenade. And watch what happens. You're going to get the double explosive damage, and it's going to take all 3 of these snipers off the map in one go. Boom, just like that. So you can see the top left counter says that we got 7 enemies left. I got 1 sniper on the low ground there, and then we've got the disciple to the top right, and then we have 4 hammer burst drones in the far back. Now, some of these chances aren't great. I got 55% chance plus the target's obstructed. But Michaela's going to go to work using her shot skill, or her shot action. And it takes 1 off the board right there. Then I'm going to use chain shot. I expected it to miss, but it managed to hit, which was a great thing. Gives me 2 more turns. We're going to use the shot again. Again, 50-50 shot. It was at 51%, but managed to hit him, take another enemy off the board. So that was great. 2 enemies off the board, plus I'm going to have a full clip to start my next turn. I'm going to have Gabe run over to the right here and grab this crate. We've got 1 more to the northwest. Again, if the top of the screen is north, then the left would be the west. So the northwest side, there's another one of the epic loot crates or equipment cases. I don't remember what they're actually called. And yeah, we're going to want to make sure we grab that. So we're kind of getting through this fairly quickly. There's not a lot of challenge left. We're going to take out these enemies, and then we're going to have to deal with 3 disciples that drop in as reinforcements right on top of the extraction zone. But overall, not a lot of surprises left. So here we go. Again, that disciple decided he was going to give me the high ground advantage by going down into that swimming pool, which is fine. You can see a critical hit there, bringing him down to a mere 13 health. And it almost feels wrong to use a sniper rifle to take him out. But we do. You can see that toxic cloud that he emitted when he died. We had 52% chance on this drone, best chance we have, so I take a shot and it hits again. So Michaela's really on point right now with her accuracy, and I'm loving this. We get the last of the sniper drones on this low ground. I'm going to use the saw, the Lancer saw, to take him off the map, just because we don't want him to pin any of our units right now, or potentially try to get a shot off on one of our units. So let's get him off the board, 1 less thing to worry about. The rush ability is going to give us 1 additional action point to put Gabe back into some cover so he doesn't get shot. And then we've got this sort of 2 overwatching enemies on the left. A little bit of a tricky situation because there's not really good cover to get behind to try to close the gap. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to move Sid into cover, or into the far cover. You can see that I tried to throw a grenade, but it didn't quite reach. 10% hit chance, that's really not going to work very well. I could overwatch, but I'm afraid that if I stand up and I'm out of cover, it's going to entice the enemies to shoot at me. So instead, I put them behind full cover back here. The reason I'm doing that is because that, well, honestly, full cover is better than half cover, and because I'm going to move Marcella up while she's cloaked, get her through the overwatch without triggering it, and then on the next turn I'll be close enough that I can take them out with grenades and shotguns. My thought was that these units were actually going to advance down this left side and take cover right in this area here somewhere. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. My thought, again, being that since Marcella was cloaked and they were on the west side of the map already, that they would pursue Sid. Unfortunately, that doesn't work out very well. The AI threw a little bit of a wrench into my plan, but not too bad. They're still close enough that I can definitely use Marcella to take them out, or, you know, so I thought. So what I do is I move up. I'm going to take cover on this piece here. I'm right next to these drones. Like, I should have no problems hitting them. And what happens? I miss. So that kind of puts me in a bind, because now I've got two enemies that, you know, have a pretty decent shot on Marcella, and I've got a drone who's further back who's going to have a shot on her if I don't get her in cover. So we're going to go ahead, go to work with Michaela, try to do some damage here and kind of ruin these guys' day. We only have a 65% hit chance, which also misses. So you see things are sort of just falling apart. Missed 2 in a row. I had already reloaded once, so that was my entire action point pool. So now I'm down to Gabe and Sid, who have 3 points each, and Marcella, who has 1 point. So it's looking a little hairy. I'm kind of considering at this point just running Marcella as far away as we can, but we're going to go aggressive with it instead. We're going to use an aggressive play style. Sid had his grenade ready, so we're going to use that to take out the weakened drone and then disrupt the Overwatch. We're going to empower Marcella using Gabe and his empower ability to give her 2 action points, or give her 1 additional action point, which brings her up to 2. So now I can take a chance. I got a 73% hit chance on this guy, and I'm going to try shooting once, and if I hit or not, I would have fallen back around the corner and gotten into some cover, just so she would have a better chance of surviving the next turn. But at least with these 2 action points, it gives me a chance to take this enemy off the board, and thankfully it hits. So we're down to 1 enemy left. I'm going to fall Marcella back to this full cover here, since our last rifle drone is in the atrium of the medical pavilion. I think that's what they call it. But he's way up there, so we're pretty safe as far as the cover that we're using right now. Again, you got to think line of sight. The enemy from where he is right now cannot see Gabe. He's behind a wall, so he can't really see any of the units as it is. The biggest threat would be if he came out to one of those pillars and tried to take some shots from there, but he doesn't end up doing that. He just does that stupid stutter step where he just moves a little bit and overwatches, but that's fine. We'll take advantage of that. We're going to run Marcella up. Thankfully, her grenade's ready, so we're going to frag grenade the drone who's in the door. Thankfully, we're able to land it right on top of him and take him off the map, and that will be the last of the enemies. So now all that's left is we're going to move Gabe up. Not Gabe. Why do I keep doing that? We're going to move Sid up to grab that last northwest equipment case, and we're going to have Marcella grab the strong box and complete the objective. You can see I'm just moving Sid and Michaela to cover, and the reason that I'm putting them in cover so the cover's behind them is because once we search that strong box, the objective is actually going to be right back where we started. So we're going to run back through the map. Like I said, there's no real enemies to deal with other than 3 disciples who are going to drop in right where we started the mission. And they advance a little bit on us, but they don't advance a whole lot. And you're going to see in a few minutes here that I get a little nervous because I take 2 of the disciples out, but I have no idea where the 3rd one is. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. So there you go. You see we get a checkpoint, which is nice. And we have the 3 disciples that we have to deal with. So now all we're going to do is, just like a scavenger run, we know where our enemies are, we know where our objective is, so we're just going to keep pushing forward. We're going to move up as much as we can, as fast as we can, to ensure that we don't get additional reinforcements dropped in on us. And again, that can and will happen. If we don't get to our objective fast enough, if the game feels like we're dawdling, it will help push us along by throwing a couple of boomers at us. And yes, that does happen to me. Thankfully, they drop far enough back that I don't have to worry about them, but it's still something that you need to keep in mind. So what I like to do at this point, I know at least 1, sometimes 2, and very rarely all 3 of the disciples are going to rush towards me. And I like to take cover right on the gate, the first objective we had to complete in this mission. I like to take cover on both sides of that and sort of overwatch from both positions on that gate. And what that does is it makes a very effective kill zone for anything that's going to come through there. Now, normally I don't like having Michaela being stacked up on that gate because her long shot is meant for longer distances. So eventually I'm going to swap out either Sid or Marcella for Michaela and have Michaela fall back just a little bit so she can kind of shoot through the gate at the enemies who are advancing. So this gate, like I was saying, it just makes a wonderful choke point. There's no other way to get through this area. So that's right where the enemies have to go. Because I have stabilizers on, I want to make sure that Michaela stays in cover, only a 37% chance to hit. Not great, but somehow we still hit. And because I only have one action point left, I'm going to fall back. I don't want to leave her out where she's going to get hit. We're going to end our turn and just wait and see what these disciples do. Very predictably, they're going to move up because they don't have a shot on anybody right now, and they're going to overwatch right through the gate. So they're kind of overwatching us, thinking we're going to be pushing through the gate, which is fine. They can do that. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move Sid up and then throw a grenade at that disciple, take him off the map, and it unfortunately doesn't hit the other disciple, but that's okay. We've got additional... Oh, that wasn't Sid, that was Marcella. So we're going to take Marcella and throw a grenade at the disciple and take him off the map. And we're going to now overwatch this door using Sid and Gabe, and then we're going to fall Michaela back to try to get some shots. She'll, because of the angle, she's able to be in cover, and still have a good line of sight on the enemy. And we're going to overwatch through the door. Best case scenario is that the disciple gets hit and gets disrupted or interrupted, which is what happens. And he tries to take a shot at Michaela, but misses, and now he's just overwatching. So not... that's kind of like the best case scenario. The best case would be that the overwatch shot killed him, but hey, didn't happen, not a big deal. So planning ahead here, we're going to throw our proximity mine into the line of the path of advancement, the way that the disciple would predictably advance, just in case I'm not able to take him off the board in this turn. That proximity mine, when triggered, would interrupt the enemy and prevent him from pushing further up. You can see I used a action point to reload for more damage, and then I used another action point to move before I shot, and that gave me an additional 75% damage with Michaela. So there's 2 of the disciples off the board. That just leaves 1 more. And again, unfortunately, I don't know where he is. He's nowhere to be seen. I'm a little nervous because I don't want to advance too far out. So we're going to play it safe. We're going to use this full cover. At some point, eventually we're going to use the full cover. But right now I'm just stacking all my units on the door, and my hope was that I was going to get the disciple to move up. But it doesn't happen. You can see I just got the notification that reinforcements are incoming, and that's because I took too long back here. And those are the boomers I was talking about. So we're going to push up relatively quickly now. A little bit more of a reckless, aggressive style. But you can see I moved all my units up, and I still don't have eyes on that disciple. So we've got some space to work with. He finally comes in from the fog of war, and then immediately runs back into the fog of war. So he's sitting right in our objective ring right now, which isn't a huge deal. He's not trying to cause us any trouble, so we can kind of take advantage of the fact that we're going to have the high ground and work the angles a little bit to make sure we get nice, safe shots on him. So those 2 boomers did drop in. It can be a problem if you take too long, but with us only having 1 enemy left, it shouldn't be an issue. We're going to move Michaela up. She's going to get the run and gun damage. So that's plus 50, 42% crit, 61% hit chance. So there's a hit, and he's almost down to half health, which is fine. We're going to empower Michaela using Gabe's Empower ability. And then because she shot once, that's 5% additional damage, so that's 55% damage. But we're going to use a frag grenade instead. Frag grenade hits, takes him off the board. All enemies are clear. So now with the remaining action points I have, I am literally just going to sprint all of my units towards that objective. No reason to stick around. You do not want to fight the boomers. Or maybe you do want to fight the boomers. I don't know. I didn't want to fight the boomers. But if you want to fight the boomers, by all means, feel free. My plan is to get out of here because the goal is to complete the game without losing a unit. And that just seems like an unnecessary fight. So we ended our turn. It didn't show the animation for the boomers. They were too far away in the fog of war, so it just skipped ahead. But they are still back there, and thankfully we were able to get all of our units into our objective on this turn. So there we go, Act 2-5 in the book. All units present and accounted for. We ended up getting some good cases. We got the Rigid Patrol Bolt, 2 rare and 2 epic cases, so we're going to open those up, and that will wrap up the video for us. Thankfully, we were able to get Michaela leveled up, so she's going to get a couple of new skills, and then we're going to get some new gear for some of our guys too. And just checking out the disparity here, the ladies carried this mission as far as kills. Guys were kind of lacking. So anyway, we're going to open up these cases. That'll wrap up the video. I hope you're finding this helpful. Stick around. There'll be more videos coming. Thank you for checking this out. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Bye-bye. Hey everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more content like this, please like and subscribe. You can also check us out on Twitch at Hammer Bros Gaming. I am Bladesofgod, and until next time, have a great day everyone.